Hagins.
Yeah.
Come on, clap your hands for Lady Cooper Brothers. Amen. Y'all can keep singing that. To be lifted. Come on, keep singing. To be glorified. I don't know the words, y'all singing. All I want. Come on, help me.
Is for
You, come on, for you to be lifted. You to be lifted. How about we gonna learn it together? All I want. All I want. Come on, if you know it, help me sing it. It's for you.
glorified.
You to be
Glorified.
glorified.
Lifted on high.
You to be lifted high. All I want. Come on, everybody. Oh,
It's for you.
for you to be glorified. You to be lifted. All I want. All I want. All I want is for you. Come on. That's for you to be lifted on high. Kind Father, in Jesus' name, we thank you for this opportunity to stand before your people. We bless your holy name. We give you glory. We give you all the honor and all the praise. We thank you for safe travel here. In spite of every red light, in spite of every police officer, in spite of every speed trap, we made it here safely. And so, God, because you let us make it, we're going to praise you for it. We're going to give you glory. We're going to magnify your holy name. And Father, thank you for these blessed people. Bless Pastor Jasper as he fills the pulpit of his Father.
Yes, Lord.
Oh God, anoint him afresh. Even if he's in the middle of his sermon right now, send a fresh wind.
Yes, Lord.
Send a fresh anointing, God. Let revival break out at the garden of prayer. And God, we're going to praise you over here for what you're going to do over there.
Yes, Lord.
And we're going to tell you thank you because you're going to bless both services.
Yes, Lord.
And we're going to give you the glory. And bless this word.
Thank
In Jesus'
you.
name we pray. Amen. Amen. Can you clap your hands for Pastor Willis and his absence?
Yeah.
Come on, my friend, my brother, and to my sister.
Yeah.
Amen. And last but not least, can you thank God for my wife?
Yeah.
You may be seated. It's still fresh on us, so you see us googly eyed and stuff. It's still fresh.
I love it.
Amen. We still in the honeymoon stage. Amen. I am so honored to be here in the presence of the Lord and in the presence of all you great people of God. I am honored that I received the call. And so we're going to do our assignment. We're going to sit down. Amen. I'm just in a place where I need God to work miracles.
Come on. Come on.
And y'all ain't talking back to me. I just need God to do something strange.
Yeah.
Just a quick testimony. A few weeks ago, we were preparing to bury one of the elders at my church. And 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, I received a phone call from a very familiar number. It was in Terra, Virginia Beach Hospital. My father asking me to pick him up and explain to me what happened. Comes to find out that the enemy attacked his mind.
Come on.
And he tried to commit suicide. And I got upset with the enemy, got upset with everybody, got upset with myself. And the Lord told me, he says, if you never have a test, you'll never have a testimony.
Come on.
And let me tell you something. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what you've been faced with, but don't be afraid of the test.
Come on.
Because your test is building your testimony.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. We're going to the Word of God, Matthew 14. Amen. 22, Matthew 14, 22. Amen. Amen. To all the evangelists, the missionaries, and elders, prophets, wannabes, gonna-be's, soon-to-be's, we thank God for you.
Come on.
The deaconess, we thank God for you. Amen. Matthew 14. I'm just going to read. I'm just going to read verse 29 toward the end. All right. And it says, well, let's read it 28. Would you stand for the reading of the word? Peter, suddenly bold, said, Master, if it's really you,
Come on.
call me to come to you on the water. He said, come ahead. Jumping out of the boat, Peter walked on water to Jesus. But when he looked down at the waves churning beneath his feet, he lost his nerve and started to sink. He cried, Master, save me. Jesus did not hesitate. He reached down, grabbed his hand, then he said, "O ye fainted heart, what got into you?"
Come on.
That's all I want to preach today for
Come on, sir.
this few minutes. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor,
Neighbor,
I got one question for
I got
you.
one question for you.
What's got into you?
What's got into you?
Have a seat.
Come on, sir.
Amen.
Bring us up.
Growing up, that Leslie's still humming. Growing up, I was somewhat of a problem child, Sister Brickhouse. You remember. I used to be very mischievous, very unorthodox. I was the young kid that ran around the church that would play the drums, play the keyboard, shout, and then go tear up children's church. And so I had a kind of crazy childhood. Just stay with me for a moment. Had a crazy childhood and got in a lot of trouble in school, fighting, very bitter, very angry. I experienced struggle at a young age. I just want to walk you through this story. My mother was working. My father owned his own business. We were doing good. They would buy me clothes and shoes, and my cousins would hand me down Jordans. So I was on top, you know. And then my mother got sick, and then I became very bitter and angry because life had shifted. Life for me as a child has shifted because no longer was it all about me, the baby boy.
Come
it was
on.
about making sure mom was okay.
Come on.
And so I became very bitter and angry, and I took it out in school, and I took it out on people around me. And I kept getting suspended from school, Sister Cookie. And one day, my dad came to the school and said to me, he said these words. He says, "I'm not going to keep coming out here to this school for you acting up." And he said, "I don't know what's getting into you, but you better figure it out." Well, I didn't listen. I didn't pay attention. I didn't mind what he said because Dad is not going to beat me. Dad's not going to do this. But one day, I was in class, and Sister Ann, I was acting up, and my teacher yelled out these words, "Hagins, that's it. I'm calling your dad." Well, she called my dad. My dad came to the school. He didn't even speak to me. He spoke to the principal. He spoke to the janitors. He spoke to the kids. He spoke to everybody else. But when it was time to go, all he looked at me and said was, "Let's go." That's not the bad part. When I got in the car, Sister Cookie, he didn't speak much. He put on the seatbelt, put the car in drive, and we got to the house. And this is what happened. He looked at me and said, "I am so disappointed." He says, "Because I taught you better than this.
Come on.
And for me to have to come out to the school to deal with your misbehavior," he says, "I don't know what has gotten into you, but I'm very disappointed."
Come on, sir.
That was the worst feeling in the world to hear my hero, my dad, my main man tell me he was disappointed in my behavior.
Come on.
Can I bring that closer to home to you?
Come on, come on.
Can I suggest that God has been looking at the church over the last few years
Yeah.
and seeing how we don't love each other, seeing how we don't be faithful, see how we don't obey the leadership. He sees how we